Antigen-antibody reactions. In the previous video, we discussed about what is antigen, what is antibody, what is the structure of antibody, types and characteristics. And in this video, we will discuss about antigen-antibody reaction. This term was first described in 1952 by Richard J. Goldberg, and that's the reason it is otherwise called as Gold's theory or Goldberg's theory. What is the definition of antigen-antibody reaction? It is a specific chemical interaction between antibodies produced by B cells of white blood cells and antigens during immune reaction. So the reaction taken place between the antibodies produced by B cells and the antigens, we call it as antigen-antibody reaction. It is a fundamental reaction in the body by which the body is protected from complex foreign molecules such as pathogen and their chemical toxins. So this is a basic fundamental reaction of our body protection which is against the pathogens or any chemical toxins. So what are the main features of antigen-antibody reaction? The first one is specificity of antigen-antibody reaction. The next is immune complex, binding site of antigen and binding force of antigen-antibody reaction. So we'll see it one by one. What is specificity? From this picture you can see each antigen has its own shape. So according to the shape the antibodies are produced. So every antigen has some specific characteristics through which they act towards the antibody or attract to the antibody. For example, in COVID-19 the spike protein plays an important vital role in the action, so that our antibody has to be prepared so that it will attract the spike protein in the coronavirus. So same like this, here you can see in the picture I mentioned here different shapes of antigen, and accordingly the antibody binding place also matched. So that which is called specificity of the antigen-antibody reaction. Refers to the ability of an individual antibody combining site to react with only one antigenic determinant. So that one antibody produced against the specific antigen will react only with that antigen. Each antibody binds to a specific antigen with an interaction similar as a lock and key mechanism. So we say it as lock and key mechanism for an easy understanding, because each lock has its own key, yes, which is designed specifically to fit the lock. So as same like that, every antigen, against every antigen, an antibody is produced which is more specific to attach that antigen, which is called specificity of an antigen-antibody reaction. The next one is immune complex. So antigen plus antibody produces antigen-antibody complex. So a complex is formed from the integral binding of an antibody to a soluble antigen. So an antigen and antibody together, it forms a complex that is called immune complex. The next one is binding site of antigen. This we have discussed in the structure of antibodies, that the part of antigen which combines with the antibody is called epitope, and the part of antibody which combines with the antigen is called paratope. So if this is the antibody and this is the antigen, so the site where the antigen go and get attracted towards the antibody, we say it as epitope, and the antibody which attracts the antigen, that site is called paratope. So a part of an antibody that recognizes an epitope is called paratope. The next is binding force of antigen. So the force of antigen, attraction of antigen towards an antibody, it really relies on three factors. The closeness between the antigen and the antibody. More close the antigen is, more strength of binding happens. Non-covalent bonds or intermolecular forces. So there is a force of attraction towards antigen and antibody that is formed by a non-covalent bonds, which may be like van der Waals force or hydrophobic bond. So it depends upon the bond, type of the bond, the attraction is. Affinity of antibody, the strength of reaction between a single epitope and a single paratope. So the affinity of antigen towards the antibody, we call it as the binding force depends on the affinity of the antigen towards the antibody. So binding force of antigen also plays a vital role in the antigen antibody reaction. So what are all the things which are more important features of antigen antibody reaction is the specificity of the antigen antibody reaction, immune complex, binding site and binding force. The binding force is rely on closeness, non-covalent bonds, affinity of the antibody. The next is types of antigen antibody reactions. So depends on this different types of antigen antibody reaction. There are a lot of lab tests conducted and identification of antigen is happening in the science. So the types of antigen antibody reactions are precipitation reaction, agglutination reaction, complement fixation, ELISA, that is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay, immunofluorescence technique. So all these reactions helps us in diagnosis of antigen or microorganisms, and there are different types of antigen antibody reactions in vitro and in vivo. So generally binding of antibody and antigen inactivates the antigen by different types as we have discussed here. We will discuss it one by one. The first one is precipitation, the phenomenon of aggregation of sensitized antigen on addition of specific antibody. So here the antibody is called precipitin and the antigen in solution is called precipitation. So what is this? A sensitized antigen is added in the antibody and it will form a precipitation. We call it as precipitation. Instead of settling, if the precipitates are suspended, they are called flocculation. For example, what is precipitation? There is something which settles under the bottom. We call it as precipitation. If this precipitation is floats in the middle or suspended on the top of the liquid, we call it as flocculation. Okay, precipitation occurs in two media, one is liquid media and gel. So here the precipitation, for example, you are adding antibodies are present already in a test tube and you are adding some antigens. So what happens? The precipitation curve happens in three different zones. The first zone is zone of antibody axis. For example, here what happens? Zone of antibody axis, actually it is. Here antibodies are more and the antigen are less. So slowly they will start attracted and the antigen antibody reaction happens. So finally in this zone of equivalence there is no antigen and no antibody. So in the zone of antigen excess as a third phase, what happens? There will be lot of antigens but less antibody. So this is what happens in the precipitation test. So precipitation test, the precipitation curve happens during the process of precipitation. So what happens? First zone is zone of antibody excess and the equivalence where the antigen and antibody, there is no free antigen and no free antibodies. And zone of antigen excess, there are a lot of free antigens and less antibodies. So this application of precipitation happens in different types of tests. The first one is ring test. So you can see in a test tube they will add antigen over a layer of antibody. So what happens here? The zone happens, the antigens go and interact and finally with the antibodies and the precipitation happens. Here you can see in this liquid, this is how the precipitation happens. So this is a ring test where a layering of antigen over an antibody. The next one is slide test. This same precipitation can be done in a slide. A drop of antigen is mixed with antisera, that is antibody, and it will show some precipitation in the slide. So here it is non-reactive if there is no precipitation. Here weakly reactive because there is a little bit of precipitation here and there, and strongly reactive here because of the strong precipitation reaction. So it can be done in ring test or in slide test. Next is agglutination. The interaction between antibody and a particulate antigen. For example, precipitation. In precipitation, the antigen is soluble, the antibody is also soluble. In agglutination, the antibody is as usual soluble, but the antigen may be an insoluble antigen, forming a clumping called agglutination. So interaction of a soluble antibody and an insoluble antigen results in visible clumping, which is called agglutination. The antigens include bacteria, white blood cells, RBCs and latex particles. The antibody of the serum causes the cellular antigens to form clumps. Okay, these antigens which forms the clumps are called agglutinins. The agglutinins or the antibodies which are present in the serum, we call it as agglutinins, and the particulate antigens we call it as agglutinogens. So gen, you remember, agglutinogen is an antigen and agglutinins or antibodies present in the serum. So the phase of agglutination, there are two phases which is happening. The primary phase is sensitization, where the antigen is exposed to the antibodies. Okay, and then the secondary phase, lattice formation occurs. Lattice formation is nothing but the antigen antibody complex formation. In this picture we say it as lattice formation. So the phases of agglutination is primary phase, where sensitization happens, that is antigens are attracted towards the antibody, and in the secondary phase lattice formation happens, that is a combination of clumping formation, that is of antigen and antibody complex. There are different types of agglutination which helps us in different various lab tests. That is tube agglutination. It helps in the Vidal test, which is conducted as a form of tube agglutination. Passive agglutination, rheumatoid RA factor and heme agglutination helps us in blood grouping and ABO incompatibility. We will see the applications here. Slide agglutination, Vibrio and Salmonella stereotyping. Tube agglutination happens in the Vidal test and Will-Felix of Rickettsia, and passive agglutination in the bacteria, that is antigen is kept inert particle. The example is rheumatoid arthritis. And the next is immunodiffusion. So what happens? It's a technique for studying reactions between antigen and antibody by observing the participates formed by the combination of antigen antibodies diffused in the cell. So they will take a plate of agar gel and they will diffuse the antibody in rings, and then they will put the antigen around it, and you can see there is a precipitation or diffusion happens around this antigen or antibody in the ring. We say it as immunodiffusion. So single diffusion in one dimension, it is of different types, like single diffusion in one dimension or two dimension, double diffusion in one dimension or two dimensions. So immunoelectrophoresis, the same thing as like immunodiffusion. If you put it in a electric field, in the presence of electric field, we say it as immunoelectrophoresis. So what happens in immunoelectrophoresis? It's a method in which different antigens are separated according to their charge by the presence of electric field. It is a process of combination of immunodiffusion and electrophoresis. So they will keep a gel plate and they will put antibodies and antigens in that gel, wells in the gel, and they will see how they are responding, like how the antigen antibody reaction happens with the help of the electric field. The next one is complement fixation. So the next reaction in antigen antibody is complement fixation. You all know that complement is a plasma protein which can be activated by pathogens. So along with this antigen antibody reaction, complement fixation also happens in our body. So complement is a plasma protein which can be activated during the pathogen entry. The complement fixation happens along with this antigen antibody reaction. So by identifying this complement fixation, we can make out the antigen antibody reaction also. The complement fixation test, that is CFT, is an immunological medical test that can be used to detect the presence of either specific antibody or specific antigen in a patient's serum. The best example is Mycoplasma pneumonia is identified by complement fixation test. The next is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay, that is ELISA, which is a very popular test which is used in multiple areas. It's the term is introduced by 1971 by Peter Perelman and Eva Engvall. So it's a common laboratory technique which is usually used to measure the concentration of antibodies or antigens in the blood. So it became very popular when they started doing ELISA for HIV. But not only HIV, there are other areas also the ELISA is done. So it's a very common laboratory technique. It's a plate-based assay technique which is used for detecting and quantifying the substances such as peptides, proteins and antibodies. So you can quantify the amount of antibodies or antigens by the ELISA. So there are different types of ELISA. The first one is sandwich ELISA. So what they do in ELISA is they will add enzyme coated antibody and they will add a substrate to give color to the antibody antigen reaction. So that color, with the color they will quantify the number of antigens or antibodies. So how they do this sandwich ELISA is there will be a monoclonal antibody coated well. Inside the well they will add the antigen after a wash, and again they will wash and add the enzyme coated antibody, a second set. So they will become a pair and they will add substrate to that to give color. So this is how they do the ELISA test. So what they do first is they will coat the well they will add antibody in the well and then wash it and add antigen, and again they will wash and they will add enzyme coated antibodies. So this enzyme will react to the substrate which is added next step and they will give colors. With that color they will identify the amount of antigen or antibody. The next one is indirect ELISA. This sandwich ELISA is otherwise called as direct ELISA. The next is indirect ELISA. What they do here, they will add antigen in a well and then they will add antibody. So in direct ELISA what we do, we will in a well we will add antibody and then antigen. Here they will add antigen first and then antibody, and they will introduce enzyme linked antibodies and then substrate they will add to give the color. The next one is antibody capture ELISA or competitive ELISA. So what they do here, they will incubate the antibody with the antigen to be measured for some times. The incubated antigen antibody complex is added into a mixture where the antigen is present. So they will incubate the antigen antibody and then they will put it in a well where there is antigens, and after the wash they will add enzyme coated antibodies and then they will add substrate to see the colors. So these are the three types of ELISA which is used. So what are all the different types of antigen antibody reactions? We discussed this: precipitation, agglutination, immunodiffusion, complement fixation, immunoelectrophoresis and ELISA. So we discussed what is antigen antibody reactions and its types in this video. Thank you for watching.